Hello and welcome back to another video. Now a lot of you guys are going to get triggered, but don't click away yet. I'm here to tell you why the Nuggets are overrated. Yes, I said it, overrated. Yes, the same Nuggets that beat the Clippers in 7 games last year and made it to the Western Conference Finals. Yes, those Nuggets are overrated this year. They had a good run last year in the playoffs. They shocked a lot of people. But why did they shock us? Because we saw the roster, we saw their 2 best players, and we knew what we should expect from them. A semifinal or first round exit. And they squeaked by and they took advantage of a weak Clippers team mentally, which you should do because you're playing basketball. It doesn't matter where it's at in the bubble, and they made it to the Western Conference Finals and got bounced out by the Lakers. It's a good run, but I'm seeing people talk about how they're a sleeper finals team and how the Lakers should watch out for them, and don't be surprised if this Nuggets team makes it to the finals. That will not happen. That's not going to happen, and it won't happen for the next couple years. This team is too young. They're still developing. I want to talk about their 2 best stars. The Nuggets' 2 best stars are Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. Now, you look at that on paper, that is a very good pair. But when you stack them up against the other very good pairs, they don't match up. LeBron and AD, who's better? KD and Kyrie, who's better? Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, they're better than them. But what about Kawhi and PG? Even though Kawhi and PG lost last year to them, I still take Kawhi and PG over Jamal Murray and Jokic. Jamal Murray's not even the best player on the Nuggets. It's Nikola Jokic. And here's the problem with that. Nikola Jokic is a center. He is 7 foot. Yes, he does the fancy behind the back passes between his legs, shooting over his head. He has cute quirks and does fancy little skillful passes. Yes, that's fun to watch. But when it comes down to it, he can't get the job done. He's not on the same level as these other top tier players. As your ADs, as your Kawhis, as your LeBrons, as your KDs. If Nikola Jokic is your best player and he's barely a top 10 player, you're not going to get it done. I'm sorry. And Jamal Murray is a great guard, and most teams would love to have him. But when you compare it to the other top tier guards, he doesn't match up. Is he better than Steph Curry? No. Is he better than Kyrie? No. Is he better than Dame Lillard? No. Is he better than the person he battled last year, Donovan Mitchell? Would you rather have Donovan Mitchell or Jamal Murray? I don't know. Yes, Jamal Murray's a great guard, but he's streaky. He's smaller. He's not a great defender. He's still young to develop. But I think we saw the success the Nuggets had last year. We're trying to put all the weight on their shoulders to make it to the finals when they're not ready. I want to talk about another reason why I don't believe in this Nuggets team this year. It's because Jeremy Grant. Now, when I say the name Jeremy Grant, most casual fans might be like, what? Jeremy Grant? But if you really dive deep into the team last year and why they had success, it is because of Jeremy Grant. He is that glue guy. He was built to get big money this offseason, but either the Nuggets didn't offer it to him or he didn't take it from the Nuggets for some reason. He went to the Pistons and got good money. Jeremy Grant did everything the Nuggets needed and was a major part for their success. You could argue he was the 3rd best player on that team. He defended all the positions that Jokic and Jamal Murray can't. He defended the LeBrons, the Kawhis, the PGs, and actually made it difficult for them. Was a multi-position defender. He rebounded the ball good. Like I said, defense all around. Offensively, he's no slouch either. He can get a bucket if he needs to. Is a streaky shooter. But overall, he fit this team's unique play style to where he made Jokic and Jamal Murray excel in their play styles. But now that he's gone, there's no one to fill that role. No one is a good defender as him as in his team. No one can fill that length that he had. Jeremy Grant leaving is a major loss to the Nuggets, and they did not make up for it. I want to talk about another piece. Michael Porter Jr. The only way I see this Nuggets team making it to the finals is if Michael Porter Jr. has an all-star type season, and his progression chart is not on that way yet. Michael Porter Jr. will probably be a great player. He's a good player right now. He's a decent player, but he is not where the Nuggets need him to be on their timeline to make the championship right now and to win the championship in the finals. Maybe in 3 to 4 years, Michael Porter Jr. will be that player. He will be the consistent 2nd or 3rd star to where the Nuggets are a real threat. But he's still young. He's still developing. He's still finding a shot. He's still holding it down on defense. He's not reliable yet. So the Nuggets can't use him in situations that they need him to. He's still working on his game, which is okay. He's young. But that means that the Nuggets aren't their full potential yet, which is okay too. They're a young team. So that means they're not ready. Another reason why I'm not high on the Nuggets this season is because of what I saw from Jokic in the playoffs. Jokic is their best player. You cannot argue that. But when he went against real defensive strategies, and real defensive players, he got shut down. The Clippers did not have a real defensive strategy. Montrezl Harrell was too small to guard him, and Zubac is not talented enough to guard him. So he feasted on the Clippers, was able to get into his spots, organize the offense, make plays, and have success. The Jazz, Gobert is a good defender, but he gets taken advantage of too much on pick and roll, so he couldn't play those late game minutes like he needed to really guard Jokic. And Jokic is too smart of a player, so he broke down the defense anyway. He can shoot a three, so he pulled Gobert around for the basket. But then let's go to the Lakers. Anthony Davis was a top 2 defensive player of the year candidate, so he wasn't a joke. And when he was on Jokic, Jokic looked scared. He looked like he did not know what he was doing on the floor. He looked frazzled, he looked fumbled. For the most part, Anthony Davis did a great job defending Jokic. And that's what I'm talking about. When a real defensive option is on Jokic, he's not the player that he is. He can't organize the offense, so the offense becomes clunky and they're looking for a shot and they can't find him. They're forcing up shots. That's what AD did. He guarded him in the post, he guarded him on the wing, and then he would take Jokic to the other side of the court and score a bucket on him with great footwork. Now you could say, that's Anthony Davis, he's going to do that to a lot of people. I got worried when I saw someone like Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard put a body on Jokic, was physical, pushed him around the court, made his life very, very hard, got him into foul trouble. And now you have another player like Marc Gasol doing that. So if you put a real body on this man, he's not going to get the work done like he usually does, which is scary. He still has to work on his game. He has to get an inside presence, has to get a back to the basket move, has to have a go-to move to where when he does have trouble, he can always rely on it to get a bucket. His first option shouldn't be to pass out. He's the best player on the team. He needs to be making the right plays at all times. And he can't do that as a center. That's okay. But because that they can't be the favorite of the West, they're not going to make the finals. I'm sorry to say that. This team is about 2 to 4 years away from having their roster fully equipped. I don't even think that Jokic is the best center in the league, truthfully. I think if you match up Embiid and Jokic, Embiid's going to eat him every time. But I understand why Jokic and the Nuggets are getting overhyped. They had a Cinderella season last year. But when they went against a real team of the Lakers, they lost 4-1. 7-game series, 4-1 against a real contender. And the Lakers only got better this year. And most of the top tier teams are coming back. That's another thing. Most of the teams in the bubble, they were already set. You had injuries to major players to where they couldn't get their teams in the playoffs. Now you have teams like the Warriors coming back. You have the Jazz coming back hungry. You have the Pelicans who are up and coming. They're not going to be a top 3 seed this year, most likely. You have the Trailblazers coming back. They're going to have to fight for a playoff position. And I wouldn't be surprised if they fall from the 4th to the 7th seed with how close the West is. So it's not going to be this easy ride in the regular season. They're going to have to work day in and day out. And can these 2 superstars get it done? No. What I think the Nuggets need is I think they need to make a trade. I think they need to get another 3rd star. Or they could just simply wait for Michael Porter Jr. to develop and then build a roster around those 3. But don't be surprised if you see the Nuggets get bounced out early this year. Don't be surprised if Jokic doesn't look like the best center in the league this year, or Jamal Murray doesn't look like a top 5 guard, because they're not that yet. But in the future they will be. Don't get me wrong. I know I sound kind of negative on this Nuggets team, but in a couple years I do think they could win a championship. Maybe in a couple years if they keep developing their talent right and they keep improving, keep working on their faults. But for right now, this season, in the present, this Nuggets team can't get it done. They're not better than the top teams in the East. They're not better than the top teams in the West. They're a 2nd round playoff team. Last year was a fluke. This year you're going to see the real. And that's the end of the video, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. Are the Nuggets overrated or underrated? Do you agree with what I say? Leave a comment, like the video, share to your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.